How are you today? Loving the hearts, loving the hearts. Makosi, Makosi, Makosi. Oh, just tired for no reason. You're okay though. Okay, all right. All right. We feel like that sometimes. We feel like that sometimes. I hope you were not busy training in the dream state, and then you didn't look at it properly. When you woke up, maybe you forgot that you were training. Uh, you physically wake up tired. It happens to some of us. Anyway, Makosi people, yes. Today we're using the Amanono spirit phase. Makosi Thelma. Loving that. Yes. I can't forget you, but I'll fix it. Yeah, it happens. Yes. And let's get in the mood so we can start feeling each other nicely. Yes, we can feel each other nicely. And oh gosh, you see, this is the thing. I thought I was prepared. I was gonna drink my juice. Now I feel that I need something hot. I need something hot because it's like when you're used to a routine, a ritual of drinking coffee while you're doing life. I'm back to that. Anyway, so hopefully we are going to be aligning, our people are connecting us nicely. So we are opening up, spiritually opening up. And today we're going to talk as well a little bit, a little bit about what it is like, and for those who are saying I am no longer a Sangoma. We're going to look at it through the Amanono. We're going to look at it wearing our Amanono healer's hat to look at this thing properly, because there are a lot of things happening. A lot of our people are there suffering. We're going to wear our Amanono hat to see how we can, even far, how we can support each other, even from far, right? When it is about Amanono, I become happy. Yeah. Yes. We are dealing with the mother. We are dealing with the child. We are dealing with everyone who is, involved in that bit. And we are looking at the welfare of the mother. We are looking at the welfare of the child. And when I'm saying the mother, remember the parents, and looking at the welfare of the parents, the welfare of the guardians, and the welfare of the children. So we're going to use our Amanono knowledge to apply it on a day-to-day healer living that bit of themselves, like a mother. We're going to look at it as in we are looking at a mother, meaning that a healer. Remember that as healers, we give birth, right? We give birth. We see ourselves giving birth, then we know that we've given birth to this. We've given birth to this, their ancestors. We've given birth to this, their spirits. We have given birth to this. We become these tunas. We've given birth to this, right? Meaning that there is a new spiritual path coming in. Now we're going to separate it and look at it as in giving birth to the old, giving birth to the new, meaning that you're looking at a mother who's already has a child, or a mother who already have fully functioning children, and they give birth to a newborn baby or newborn spiritual path. They already have their old beliefs. Now they're giving birth to their new self, right? We're going to look at it at that. And then we're going to focus, because I'm going to focus because I'm thinking about one healer who I think has gone through this. And sometimes as healers, we forget that we are healers and we start judging. We forget that new mothers, sometimes they go through uh, what they call it, postpartum depression kind of thing. But that is physical. We look at it as spiritual, like they go through some spiritual distress, right? When you're going through a transition, you're going through spiritual distress. Let's talk about a mother who is internally divided, right? Internally divided, who's going through spiritual changes in their spiritual path, right? Okay. Now, remember that as someone who is dealing with ancestors, who's dealing with Istunya, these two, they need to blend in together, meaning that they need to be integrated together. Sometimes integration can be difficult, especially if your association with Istunya is more of thinking that God consciousness or the source consciousness is more of you give it, you put a belief in it, like you associate it with something which contradict your ancestral path. Now, when we have a mother with, let's give an example of a mother who's got a child who's 3 years old, like ancestors, right? 3 years old ancestors, metaphorical. And you've got a new born baby coming in, which is metaphorically your new spiritual path, which is different from your ancestral path, the baby that is familiar to you, that you understand. But your contradiction, because of misunderstanding of what is more of a source consciousness or God consciousness and ancestors knowledge, is not aligning properly with this new path that you're transitioning in. Then it becomes difficult. That's where you see people denouncing, or healers saying that they no longer believe in ancestors. They no longer they are no longer sangomas and stuff like that. Now, remember, the only problem with that, remember that I'm talking about ancestors being the 3-year-old baby, you having a newborn baby, someone that you're trying to protect, but they because of your association with what you think your source consciousness is all about, contradict your ancestral path. So you can't integrate, you can't unite these two together. You abandon and reject your 3-year-old baby. So what happens to the abandoned 3-year-old baby, and what is happening to the mother who's abandoning their child? A healer who is deciding that they no longer want to be associated, they no longer want to be, they no longer believe in that old bit of themselves. Remember, this is your child. It is part of who you are. So you cannot just leave it like that and think that you'll be fine with your newborn, with your new baby that you've just given birth to. You cannot leave that bit of yourself, because those two babies, they make you who you are. They make you whole, right? So you need to give yourself time as a mother to unite these two different paths together. But then we find that the mothers, sometimes due to the lack of understanding or the distress, the rush, they go into the flight mode, that going in a rush, whereby you leave what you were familiar with, you leave what you knew. But if your association with your ancestors is of a negative, the way you even went into the ancestral bit of things, you went there by force. Obviously, you remember that a lot of us, we go into ancestral bit of things. It's like you're forced into this new path that you were not aligning with before. So imagine now that after you've been, when you think about it, like forced into this ancestral path, And then you now give birth to a newborn baby who you relate it with what you already knew before and what you associated, as in it doesn't align with your ancestral path. So you've got two babies. One who's old and familiar and is ancestral. The newborn baby, it is like your Istunya, and you think of Istunya as in the biblical sense. You think of it as in biblical sense, meaning that it doesn't relate with what? Ancestors. So as a mother, what do you think is going to happen to you or your children when you separate them? When you separate them, due to what? Your misunderstanding. Due to what? Due to not wanting to deal with that bit of yourself, your old self. Remember that a child, your child, is just your old self. If you were to look at it as in a bit of yourself, you look at it as part of your whole, the newborn baby as well. What do you think is going to happen to them when they know, when they are growing, they know that their mother, I'm being metaphorical here, their mother has abandoned their child who was still growing, not even yet developed properly. And you, the newborn baby, when you're growing, you're going to be feeling anxious, isn't it? You're going to be worried about if your mother can leave that one, she's likely to abandon or reject you as well. Now, I'm bringing this because I'm talking about the healers who are going through a transition in their spiritual path. And because of the way that when we talking a lot with a lot of us, we think that someone cannot be separate. We think someone, if you are Trasa, you initiate, you become a healer, that means you can no longer live your ancestors, right? You can no longer live your ancestors. If you look at it, yes, you cannot live your ancestors because it is part of your identity. But then sometimes it is not about living them, but it's about aligning those two, your ancestors and the new source consciousness with it, and then using your Istunya, now applying your Istunya gift, but your ancestors knowing that they are part of you. They are what has made you to become who you are, right? But then some people are finding it difficult to put the two together. They are finding it difficult to put the two together. Therefore, instead of saying that I will carry on with this 3-year-old and deal with this newborn baby, but I've just become aware that there is a newborn baby and it is different, she has different needs than the 3-year-old baby. I'm gonna try as much, even if I'm finding it difficult as a mother, to deal with the needs of this emerging spiritual path. Even though there are differences in how you handle the 3-year-old baby, meaning ancestral. Remember, I'm talking about the healers who cannot integrate ancestral bit of things, the living behind of ancestral bit, and the source consciousness bit of things, right? So how, us as observers, I mean, seriously, looking at what is happening out there, when we see the people who are you think about them, like even sometimes it can kind of feel like the mother is even contradicting themselves. This child doesn't belong to me. You know that the mother is giving birth to the child. What does this say about the mental well-being of the mother? Right? We're wearing our armor on the head. What does this say about the mental well-being of the mother? If the mother is denying that bit of herself, saying that they haven't given birth to the child, and we all witnessed it. The mother being pregnant, the mother giving birth to the child, but the mother all of a sudden just have this bit that they cannot associate themselves with the child. They think the child can take care of themselves. Then they're looking at the newborn baby. and they're abandoning the 3-year-old child just like that. So what do we say as healers observing this thing happening around us? What do we say about them? Because our point is to heal. Now, our point is to understand what it is, the distress that the mother is going through. As well, if the mother is not asking for help, then we think about how can we help this child deal with being abandoned by the mother. Remember that even though the child is being abandoned by the mother, we as healers, we are expecting that the mother will come back for the child. So we will look after the child, meaning that physically, when someone says, I'm no longer a sangoma, and stuff like that, due to their new transition, then we're looking at it as in looking at that healer, saying everything that this child doesn't belong to me, has never belonged to me, I've never even given birth to. So what do we do? Do we just like let it be like oh, let the mother go and that is it? Or are we like gonna be using our Amanono healer head to say like what the mother is going through difficulties in their new spiritual path? So let's look after this child until the mother is feeling much better. And when the mother is feeling much better, she will be able to remember that she left the child behind. Then she can come back for the child, take the child so that she can reintroduce these two together, so she can integrate the two differences together, and then she will be able to excel, because it can be well for a mother to be operating like that, as if they've never, the child doesn't exist. It cannot be easy, but it becomes difficult when we are looking at it happening in real life. Imagine me going through that here on live session, like saying, ancestors, I do not even care about it. I don't even think they exist. I don't even think about that. And you observed me. You have been a witness to me giving birth to that child. And now, after the child has got to the age where you still think, obviously you will know because you will be shown, the child still needs more, some more development to go through. The child still needs some more growth. The mother says, not with me. Denying the child the opportunity to be cared for, the opportunity to be taken up to the age where they are able to care for themselves. Now, this is when we go the Amanono. Anyway, I was just talking about being an Amanono healer and being a healer looking at other healers who are going through these changes and they are unable to manage the two. They are able to manage the two, but looking from outside, you think there is a difference there, but then we need to look at it as in, we've been midwives, right? We've been midwives. Now, imagine if it is you, you're a Gobela, you help someone become a healer, and you've seen them getting into that line, becoming a healer, giving birth to a child, right? Because you were helping them. You were their midwife, metaphorically speaking. You were their Gobela. You have watched them giving birth to that child. And they've gone to the stage where they've gone to, and then they give birth while they are no longer with you. They give birth to a new child, right? A new child. And that new child becomes the immediate one who needs protection, one who needs immediate attention, right? And then you see that mother, the same mother, leaving the old child behind and just dropping the child just like that, and start even like expressing herself as in she's never had a child. Now, what do you do? Do you as well follow all those people who are like, yeah, that child doesn't even exist? Yeah, the child doesn't. Or do we look at it as in from a healer to a healer? From a healer to a healer, looking at someone who is going through that distress. Because it happens, a lot of us, I've gone through that. But some people, they've gone through that, they go into isolation and they go through that. But some people, they go through that out there. We see them going through it. So how do we, as a community of healers, help, how do we help mothers like that? How do we help mothers like that? That is the question. How do you help mothers like that? And I am energy sending love always, and Hanya. Yes, how do we help those going through that? Which is difficult, isn't it? That is wearing the Amanono hat. Wearing Amanono hat. And looking at how we help. Remember, that is just applying Amanono knowledge. How do we help the new mothers? How do we help those children who are being abandoned by their mothers? And we are not looking at it physically as in like a child, like a real child. We are looking at it spiritually as in someone who has been carrying, who has been going through their ancestral journey with the old child. And then they give birth to something new due to the mother going through mental and emotional distress. The mothers abandons or reject the child that they already have, right? They abandon that child, obviously. Then we look at it as in what do we do as healers when we see someone going through, because that is trauma. How do we deal with that? What can we do? Do we look at it and just think, oh yes, they're going through it? Or what can we do as Amanono healers? Amanono healers now, I'm using the Amanono knowledge, using the metaphorical mother, going through the stress of the new path that they're in. So how do we help them deal or align the two, or integrate the two children together, unite them instead of separating them? Separation, remember, if the first child is 18, yes, we know that the child can go on their own. We are fine with that. And the mother can, 18 is the age that a child can go on their own, isn't it? It's adult. Now, what do we do with those who still need the mother's attention, metaphorically speaking? How do we deal with them? Remember that this trauma can make someone start behaving strangely, start saying things, just doesn't want to associate themselves with the child, because that's what people go through. Sometimes looking at what is familiar, it brings out the memories that you don't want to look into. It brings out all that fear, all that the angry emotions. If your association with that child, the way that you gave birth to that child, everything was not pleasant. So when you look at that child, it brings out the memories that you haven't yet properly healed. So that is why you find that those metaphorical mothers, when they're giving birth to this newborn spiritual belief, a new spiritual identity, right? New spiritual identity. They deny the old spiritual identity because they cannot integrate the two together. They find it difficult to. That is just that. That is what I was just wanted to about. Now, as healers, we are not supposed to be judging. As healers, we are supposed to be healing the mother. As healers, we're supposed to be healing the child. As healers, we're supposed to be even looking at whether the mother is able to even look after the newborn baby. Even though we are not dealing with the mother. Remember, you don't have to be that mother's midwife to see that the mother is suffering, even if in real life. You do not have to be associated with the newborn mother to see that the mother with the newborn baby is suffering. You don't have to be associated with them. But what can you do as someone who is witnessing this from afar, looking at it? What can you do? As in bringing awareness to the things that the newborn, the mothers with newborn baby experiences, especially when they are still dealing with the overwhelming or the situation that they felt was holding them back. Meaning that when they're looking at their child who is still growing, they think the child has been holding them back. Now they do not want to be associated with the said child. They now want to deal with their newborn baby, because the newborn baby is giving them hope of something good coming into their spiritual path. Therefore, they go into rush. I do not want to be associated with the child, the old child. I want to be dealing with the newborn child, because the newborn child looks beautiful. The newborn child looks like someone that I want to be seen around. The newborn child seems to be like, is giving all that hope, right? All that hope that we sometimes as people, we look forward to, right? So we don't want to look back at our old selves, the part of ourselves that we are uncomfortable with. And sometimes it's not even about not wanting to look at the part of ourselves that we feel we are uncomfortable with. Sometimes is that people go into rejecting mode. Something doesn't, it's not there, has never been there, it doesn't exist, so that it's like a trauma response kind of thing. It's never been there, it doesn't exist, I don't want to even think about it, everything about it was wrong, so that they can face the new baby in their spiritual path. Because the newborn baby comes with what? The hope that the mother has always been hoping for, that with the newborn baby, everything will be resolved. Even the issues that they felt the 3-year-old child was holding them back on, this newborn baby, the new emerging spiritual path will bring a big change in their life. So they can't put them together and look at them together at the same time. They rather not look at that part of themselves. They want to look at the new part of themselves, which is difficult, right? It's difficult. That is where we come in as healers, because that is our work. That is what we're supposed to be healing, dealing with the distress, right? The emotional disharmonies. That's what we are there for. Now, when we see when we physically see someone who has been going through the spiritual path as a healer, as Naga, as whatever, deciding that they do not want to be associated with being a healer or whatever that they were Sangoma or Inyanga or stuff, we need to wear our spiritual Amanona spirit head to think about it in this way. What is actually happening in their new spiritual path that is making them find it difficult, right? Find it difficult to merge that bit of themselves with this bit of their new imaging self. What are they finding it difficult? I'm talking about as healers working with people like that. What are they finding it difficult to connect these two together? Right? What are they finding it difficult? Because remember, everything about, remember that I talked about it like when I was going through this kind of change. I talked about it as in I felt that it was like I'm leaving my ancestors behind, right? That's how I looked at it. I was leaving my ancestors behind. Now, if it was someone going through that and didn't understand, like even me who was going through it and I wasn't understanding it, I've been sharing it here, that this looks strange, right? But if I had the association of the source consciousness, I was associating the source consciousness or the God consciousness with that it differs from the ancestral bit, like obviously it differs, but I was associating it with, if you go into the source consciousness, that means you have to leave you have to not want to be associated with ancestors. I would have been there dealing with it and talking about it like that. Like, I'm no longer a sangom. I do not want to hear about the roses. I do not want to hear about the ancestors. I do not want to hear about that. I would have been the mother with the newborn baby, abandoning the 3-year-old baby, because it is what I've already knew, the familiarity of it, the well-established beliefs that I knew with ancestors. I would have been living it and saying that I do not even acknowledge it. It never even existed. Obviously, that would have been my trauma response, obviously, like because I do not want anything associated with that. I wouldn't have known how to integrate the two. Now, I'm just giving you an example with how it could be like that. We should give, as healers, when we are seeing people going through this, we should give them, it is never an easy thing for a mother to separate their children, or a mother, metaphorical mother, to leave a child behind, because that child will haunt the mother. Remember, that child will want the mother. So we should not look at it as in, oh yes, you can't leave Hungama, you can never, and stuff like that. You'll come back. No. Yes, someone will come back for their child. But we need to look at it as in the mother going through the difficulties of the newborn baby and not being able to align these two, the babies together. And they can't understand what is happening. And therefore, they go into internal warfare. The internal warfare, where the two parts of themselves cannot merge into their whole self. So then it becomes difficult. So we look at it as in, this bit of themselves, this distress, how long does it take the mother to go through that bit that they go through? And how long does it take the mother to merge this new emerging self with the old self, right? Old, familiar, established bit of themselves. Now, looking at it as in, how long does it take the mother, the new mother, not the new mother, obviously, because a 3-year-old, isn't it? But how long does it take this mother to unite the source consciousness bit of themselves with the memory or the old identity self of carrying the ancestral bit of things? So how long does it take that mother? And I am bringing this because of what I am seeing with, I've been observing one Gogo, and you can see that there is internal warfare going on there, because obviously out there everyone can see, right? So how do we as healers support mothers like that without judging them for going through what naturally we go through spiritually, the distress, especially when we are going through transition in our spiritual path. And sometimes we cannot deal with what we are experiencing, and we deal with it while everyone is watching us. We don't deal with it where we are in isolation. So how do we become part of the healing community to help build each other in a way that is more supportive than more of like thinking about it as in because these mothers going through these changes in their spiritual path, sometimes they can make it difficult, especially if one is too how do you say it? One is too out there. They can make it uncomfortable for some of us healers because the thing they say, you can tell that there is emotional distress if you look at it spiritually. Because the things that the mothers say, they are not in all spiritual, mental, and emotional state kind of things right for the mother to say about their child that they're separating themselves from. Right? Metaphorical, I mean. Like you cannot be a full functioning healer working with others, right? Working with others and for a long time. When you leave this path, you start, I was almost saying that you start pooping on the trees that feed you. But remember that sometimes that is needed as manure to make the tree fertile, nice and nourished. But what I'm trying to say is that saying something bad about your child, we as a community looking at it, doesn't look right. Because it not only affects you as a mother, even though you might not see it, it affects the abandoned or rejected child, metaphorically speaking, the ancestors. Imagine the ancestors being part of you, helping you to get to the state that you're in. And after, and when they're still trying to get you to align with your new self, you start working on them. Right? Which is not nice. Anyway, that is just that. I was just talking about that and using the Amanono spirit to look at the mother who is abandoning a child, their own child, because of the newborn baby that they're carrying. Yeah, that is what I was using that. But then I was being metaphorical, but talking about how do we deal with the gogos, the gobelas, all of a sudden saying that they never given birth to these children that we have to look at as a community. The ancestral journey. We as a community needs to be looking after these children, protecting them, right? Remember that there are a lot of things that have been said about our ancestral and traditional beliefs, right? A lot of things, negative things have been said about them. Now, when we have a mother saying exactly the same thing about their own child, and we as a community have to protect their child until the mother is sane enough to come back to collect their child, right? So that they can connect those the old and the new together to make the mother whole, because there is no mother who metaphorically can be at ease, because the ghost of that child will haunt them, metaphorically speaking. The child will haunt them in their dreams. They will remember in their dreams that they gave birth to this child. They will remember in their dreams when they're sitting down in their memories that they've given birth. They've got this child that they left on the street, who they don't even know who they left the child with. Metaphorically speaking, right? So as a community, we need to support healers going through that, especially when they can't, well, even if they don't reach out for help, but we need to help healers going through that. It is our responsibility as a community of healers. Anyway, that is just that. How are you guys getting on in your spiritual path? I was just getting you there with the Aman on the stage, applying Aman on the spirit knowledge. Luyando, thank you for this insightful protective gog. Oh, Marcus. Yes, Marcus. Yes, what brought me this is just looking at the gogo out there, and it makes me feel so, you know, I love her so much, but you know, it's so difficult. It must be so difficult integrating the two children together. It's difficult, you know, especially when your association with the source consciousness or the God consciousness, your association with it is a Christian belief. Then it becomes difficult, because that belief and the ancestral belief, sometimes they clash due to the misunderstanding in interpret the two kind of beliefs. So therefore, some of us have to deny the other bit to go through the Eastunia kind of way. So it becomes difficult to the person, especially when they are still seeing that that part of themselves, that bit of themselves, the fragmented bit of themselves, because the ancestral bit is your fragmented bit of yourself, is still haunting you, because it will come in dreams. It will come in the way that you do your things, your day to day, because, you know, it's your identity, isn't it? Without that bit, you become one of those in a crisis state. So you'll find that someone say things that don't make sense about the things that they said, about the things that they're saying. You understand? It becomes so difficult that, gosh, this fly is just making the noise. So it becomes difficult to align those two together. It's hard for those who are going through that. It's hard. And come on now, fly. Okay. My spiritual journey is progressing. My dreams are becoming more real. Okay, that sounds beautiful. That sounds more beautiful. I am energy. Oh, thank you. I'm being more and more alone, not lonely, but alone. Yes. Sometimes we need that. We need that. We need to take ourselves from the community sometimes, so that we can deal with the things that we need to deal with organically on our own, and be able to accept what it is that we are supposed to accept. And then when we come out, we emerge. We come out beautiful, isn't it? That is what they call spiritual. You become spiritually beautiful, because when you're still dealing with it and you're out there, you can end up being what they call it, attracting the negative things and allowing negative things to seep into you. So you need to be isolated. And which is what, gosh, I feel like I need to say the name of this girl, but I can't. But she's the one who brought me into this, talking about the mother with 2 children and abandoning one while dealing with the new born baby. She brought me this awareness, because it is almost, she's going through that, the new change, which sometimes we are finding it difficult. We have been taught that a healer has to be in this way, but then some of us, when we go into this way, actually even worse, because the way we go about the new path, we end up having to say the bad thing about where we're coming from. And then you start asking yourself, how can you trust someone who is so negative? Even though with the experiences that they might have, they're so negative about what has brought them to the state that they're in. You understand? So it becomes difficult. You're the first healer I have seen deal with this issue by explaining of the experience and grace with no judgment in this journey. Oh, thanks, Oyendo. In this journey, we lost trust in ourselves, in our children and healers. I now trust that my journey is like no other, so I have to be gentle with myself. Marcos, yes, that's what we need to be. We need to be that. Yeah, we need to be that. We need to be like that. Yes, as healers, we are becoming too judgmental, not healing. We are becoming like that. I think maybe it's I don't know if this has to do with the modern life. This kind of this. I don't know. Modernity has made a lot of us forget that we are healer first. We are healer first. That means anything that we see that doesn't look right, we need to go into what is creating this harmony, what is creating this disease. You understand? What is creating this uneasiness or this distress with someone? What is creating that? That is the first thing as healer. That is what we're supposed to be looking at. The trauma. This is a trauma bit, right? Someone is behaving like this. There is something going on that is not right. We forget that bit. We just look at someone, see someone behaving strangely, see someone doing things that we physically will associate them with losing it or saying things that don't make sense. And then we start avoiding, not wearing our healer hats, and start dealing with the person as a person, not dealing with the person with the issue that we are meant to be looking into, right? The person with the issue that we are meant to be looking at. We just look at the person and what they're saying, not what is deep within what they're saying. You understand? So it becomes like we want to look at someone as it is a laughing matter, or it is something that we are discussing. Well, obviously, I'm discussing it because my people have made me look into it in this way, like the mother with 2 children. One is abandoned, the new one, the mother is carrying, and she seems to be in a rush because there is a spiritual fire from where she's coming from. You understand? And she doesn't want to look back. So by being in that flight mode, she even leaves the 3-year-old behind without even, because she's in a state of a rush. She's in urgency. She's in emergency kind of situation. She cannot even think properly, right? Because a mother who thinks properly will try to hold the 2 children together, but she can't think properly. She's thinking about the one that needs more protection, immediate protection is the newborn baby. Now, this one, she's thinking when the child is seeing that the mother is running away from the spiritual fire, the child will run after the mother because the child is walking, isn't it? Can run after the mother. But the mother, due to just being too in distress, just goes and leave the child behind. And then this is where we start now as healers discussing because the mother is talking badly about the child. And now we start discussing it because as well it's like how can you say something like this about your child? How can you say you cannot abandon your child? You cannot abandon this. It's impossible. You are always going to be a mother. You're always going to be like this. You're always going to be like this. We are not looking at what the mother is experiencing and what these two children are experiencing as well. The newborn baby is going to be anxious. Remember that the newborn baby is born while the newborn baby was still in the mother's womb, could feel that they are the presence of two energies, presence of two souls. Obviously, they know from deep within when we wear our Amanana hat. The soul came knowing that there are two souls there already, the mother and the child who's already there. So now the child is born, and the child now grows up and start asking themselves, where is my sibling? And the mother is denying that she already had the sibling. So the child is going to feel what? Anxious, because I know, I came in knowing that I'm coming to this family, right? But then where is my sibling? Because the mother doesn't want to even remember. Oh, it's not even about not intentionally wanting to remember. It is the mother trying to forget the experience that she's gone through with that child, or what she was running away from, the spiritual fire she was running away from, metaphorically speaking. So she doesn't want to deal with what has happened there for her to run away from that. Remember that we were talking about the transition, but we're using metaphors to run away from that bit. Now going into the new path that she doesn't even know where she's going, but she's just left in a rush. But if we look at it in this particular way, and even me, when I have to look at this particular way, my new transitional spiritual path of Isanusi came in as in the mother running away from the fire. But lucky enough, I was able to carry the two children together and integrate the two together, meaning that the ancestral bit, until I knew that the change that was happening, that child has to be grown and old enough to say, yes, leave me behind, right? I can take care of myself. And now the newborn baby opening up, knowing that the sibling is there, isn't it? The sibling is part of the mother. The mother has never denied the child, but has integrated the two, right? That is what we're talking about. Anyway, blessings for taking the time to share your knowledge and experience, okay? Emma Kosini Gogo, thank you for your teachings today and on your channel, and as always, being authentic, Makosi. So that is just that. So we were looking at it in that way. And we love Gogo, the Gogo that is going through this spiritual change, transition in the life path. We love her with what she's going through. And as well, we should give one a chance to get comfortable in their new path, and until they deal with it, and then once they're comfortable, then we can start asking how it was like, right? How it was like. But when we are looking at it in the raw form, when it is appearing in the raw form as someone going through that change, we should not judge, but we should give them time to process in the only way possible that they know how. The only way possible that they know how. That is what it is all about. And And this one was brought to me because as well, when I was training the Makosi as in Abalozi, the image of the gogo I have in mind was the one helping in my spiritual path. The image, because uh, some people are using that way. Their image are using that way in our spiritual path, so that we follow. We understand when they're saying something. We see where they're taking us. We see what they're doing. We see, and we get excited. There is someone that we know, we've seen, and stuff like that. Like a, it's like when they're using an image of someone familiar. Ancestors using an image of someone familiar to take you in that beat of yourself. So it's a beautiful thing, isn't it? So we can't get excited being people's image being used in our dreams and in the most beautiful way. And when we see them going through things now, the change that is different from what we're supposed to, what we understand, and we still don't send them remote hugs, right? Hugs. We still do that the only way that we can, by talking about, because as well they make us bring awareness to this new transitional spiritual changes that happen to people, the new phases that happen to people. And you've seen that I've changed my name, right? I have changed my name. I've changed my name. I've changed my name. I have changed it. It's beautiful, isn't it? That means even me, I've gone through that spiritual, mental acceptance, and all that kind of thing that sometimes we are brought with, like a saying that oh, don't change this thing, don't change this, because it makes you you have a brand kind of thing and stuff like that. And then it works against our new spiritual path, because that beat and this new beat, they do not connect. It's like wearing a primary school uniform and wanting to be called a professor while you're wearing a primary school uniform. And come on now. How do we actually look at you like this and then call you something, or doctor something, right? You are still wearing school uniform, primary school uniform. So your role, it needs to show that it is like that. So that is why there is a change there. That I'm no longer Hulu on my channel. I am Sanusi, which is Nkhaha in Sotho. Right? So that is just that. And I think that's what we've done, what we could have done in a day, right? We've gone into that bit where we were talking about the mother, an abandoned child in separation. So we have talked about that, and we'll try and do it in a way that as time goes on, as we are directed to go deep into it, as in the spirituality bit of things, the ancestral bit of things, and the source consciousness bit of things, integrating the two. Anyway, that is just that. And Khanyang.